Okay, let's quickly do an audio check here. Testing. Okay, good. Voice is A-OK. It looks good. All right, well, we'll get started here. Looks like in about a minute. All right, welcome everybody to Stock Analysis Friday. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Today is the first day of September, so September 1st, 2023. And this is basically an event where we're going to look up stocks that interest you. And I'll have some I'll share with you as well. We'll cover some of the basic ETFs probably as well. And if you wouldn't mind, go ahead. You can start typing your stock symbols in the comments window. And you need to do that in caps. Okay, that helps me to see those good. And I'm going to go, while you're doing that, I'm just going to go through a few administrational items so we can get started. Okay, so first thing I need to cover here are the risks involved in trading. And like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really go hand in hand, but you need to be aware of the risks involved in trading. It is possible to lose some or all your money trading or even investing in the markets for that matter. We want you to check with your financial advisor or whoever manages your money before actually acting on any of the recommendations we suggest here. Just to be sure, because they know your personal situation, we don't, and a lot of factors go into that determination. Past performance does not guarantee future performance. When we trade the markets, we deal in a realm of probability. So we don't always win every trade. So you need to learn how to protect yourself against that. And one of the ways, of course, is using money you can afford to risk, called risk capital. And then the other way is to carefully calculate your position size, also known as trade size in the industry. And we can help you with that. I've got several books on that, money management books. You can see those in front of you now. You can get these on our Amazon page. You can access these through the website at traderscoach.com. If you're watching the recording, I'll put the links below in the recording area. We also have books on other forms of technical analysis. One of the ones I like is called the Elliott Wave, and I wrote a book that was published by McGraw-Hill on Elliott Wave Techniques Simplified. So that's available. We have the Survival Guide for Traders also out. And my newest book, which is due out probably in the next, I'm going to say 6 months or so, is The Art of Trading, second edition. This is going to be, I think, the best book I've ever written. And Basically, this book is going to cover a lot of the new information since obviously our other book came out, our first edition came out, believe it or not, in 2008, quite some time ago. So this book is going to talk a lot about some of the new software and techniques that we have developed since then. And so you're not going to want to miss it. And you can pre-order that right now. And again, I'll put the link up for all these books in the recording, or you can just go to our website and go under education and then books. We also have a variety of home study courses that may interest you as well. We also sell software. We have the ART software, the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. These are our software tools. And you're going to see me use that today. These are proprietary. And so if you're interested in these, you can learn more about these on our website as well. And again, if you're watching the recording, I'll put a link up to our appliedrealitytrading.com website where you can go and learn more about it. We have scanners. That's how we find the various markets each and every week. And those scanners also work on intraday charts as well as all our software. And then a very important element of trading the financial market successfully, of course, is our risk control software down there at the bottom. And that's the Trader's Assistant, which is our record keeping and trade analyzer. Great piece of software to figure out where trading needs to be tweaked. Then we have the risk to reward calculator used for trade size and risk to reward. In other words, when you are taking a trade, what's your potential risk as opposed to your potential profit? That's really important to know. And we kind of don't like to take trades unless we have a good edge there. And then we have something called just the trade size calculator, which calculates your trade size only. So that's the software we have. And it's great software. We try to cover all the major bases with it. And because of that, we call that the ultimate trading system. All right, like everybody on YouTube says, like, subscribe, and share. Pass it on to your friends. Give us a big like, etc. Okay, so that's that stuff. All right, let's come out of here. All right, and let's go into the charting system. So currently, our software plugs into a variety of different trading platforms. You're seeing in front of you now NinjaTrader, but we also plug into TradeStation. So those of you using TradeStation can use our software. And it also works on multi-charts. A lot of our overseas clients use multi-charts. And it plugs into eSignal for those that use eSignal. And then also for those that trade cryptos, the MT4 and MT5 charting platforms as well. So let me just quickly go over before we jump into actual stocks here, what you're looking at. So notice in the platform, I've got 3 charts loaded. So this one on the far left is a 60-minute chart. And this shows me the short-term aspect of a stock I'm looking at, or ETF. Or, if you look at a futures, it'll work on futures too, whatever you can get in terms of data into your platform. The chart in the center is our daily chart. And for position trading, I usually use this as the primary chart. And that's the intermediate trend. And then on the far right, I have the weekly chart, which we use as a long-term look at the charts. So how are they different? Well, each price bar on the weekly chart represents a full 5 days or 1 week of the trading activity. So every price bar you see here has 5 days in it. In the daily chart here, each price bar represents a full day of activity. And this chart is kind of what you normally see when you either go to a website, or if anybody opens a magazine or a newspaper anymore, chances are you're going to see the daily chart most often. And then on the left-hand side, we have the 60-minute or hour chart, where every price bar represents just 60 minutes or an hour. So the reason we do this, it's called multiple time frame analysis, is when I pull up a symbol, and I have USO pulled up already because I wanted to go over that. But when we pull up a symbol, we like to take a look at the short, intermediate, and long-term aspect, and that helps us determine the timing of the trade. So is it a good time to trade? Are all charts looking pretty good? Do we know if we're doing a counter trend trade or a trend trade? By having these 3 charts, we get a real good look at the inside of that market. Then also too, you'll see our software loaded on all the charts. And our little triangles here, this represents the ART software, which is looking at fractal patterns in the market, and also known as trend trading patterns. And so it draws these fractals for entries and exits. So it's also the place where we use our areas to get out of the market as well as in. We have these little 1Bs, which are pivot points called reversals. We have greed bars and fear bars showing up at the tops and bottoms of certain trends as they get away from the normality of a trend line. And then at the bottom here, we have the owl, which represents the optimum wave locator. We use this for measuring momentum and at times Elliott wave. We have the PTF, which tells us if the probability of a higher high or higher low. And then we have the trend line master under that, which develops the trend for us, automatically draws the trend lines on the chart, puts a ribbon at the bottom. And then we have an ERI bottom down here, which is associated with our greed and fear. And so every time you see one of these or see one of these down here, you go up here and there'll be either an F for fear or a G for greed as these markets climb. You can see it's just a quick reference to locate those. So those are our software. You can learn much more about them. And then the colored ribbon at the top over here, these are our scanners. And so we have 4 major ones. We have the trade confirmer here. We have the Elliott wave here, the turbo scanner here, and the multiple time frame scanner way over here. So if you want to learn more about those, again, come to our websites. We have a lot of free webinars where we can teach you all about those. All right, so let's jump in. I think, Jim, you wanted to take a look at USO. So I have the USO symbol up for you right now. And this is the ETF for oil. And of course, we recommended this as a long trade previously in our sessions here. And it's doing quite well. It's kind of going along what we had expected. And now we have a green PTF, further confirming now that this is moving strongly. So our target on this is between 100 roughly and 126, and we're sitting at 76. So we're recommending this right now, okay? So I would put this on the buy list. So let's put USO as a recommended. Now I'm going to bring up here the data box, and let's just take a look at where that stop should be. So I'm thinking at the bottom of that pyramid looks pretty good, because that's where we like to put our stops most of the time, and that's low enough to the bottom to be good here. And so that's at $59.78. So I'd put the stop one tick under that at $59.77. So that's a go. All right, good one. Thank you, Jim. All right, UNG. Now, UNG is another ETF. This one is for natural gas. This is another one we're keeping a close eye on. So basically, if you had entered earlier on, okay, during this period here, rather, all right, when this was favorable over here, then you just want to stay with it and put your stop at the very bottom, okay? So prices have kind of elongated, gone sideways, and so that's kind of where it is now. This is a kind of a typical basing pattern that you see in this. So I'm liking this. I do think there's tremendous potential to the upside in natural gas, but I think we have to wait for it to really break out some more before we can get too excited about recommending this currently. Now, again, if you're already in it, just keep your stop down here, all right, and stay with it. The only way you'd get stopped out is if that's not a bottom, all right, but that should be a bottom, okay? Chances are that is, but we can't guarantee anything. Now, the reason why I want you to wait if you're new before going in is a couple things. We got a red PTF here, and that's a little bit concerning. That's sitting at the 650 mark right around here. So it looks like it may take another dive according to that indicator. And this indicator has a 75% accuracy rate, not 100%, but 75, which is pretty good. So we think this bottom down here is right around under 6, I guess. So maybe we're going to pull down close to the bottom, maybe form a double bottom before it goes. But I don't want you to get in right now. Let's wait until that 60-minute chart, our short-term chart over here, no longer has any red here. So let's hold off on that. The other thing I would do on this, and I'm going to just kind of move this in like this. Notice we've got this channel here going sideways with a high here. If you wait for the breakout above here, that's okay too, because that means that we'll be breaking out of the channel. And that's still going to give you a good enough price because our target is over here between these two blue lines on the long-term chart over here between 1682 and 2357. So you can still double your money even if you're patient and wait to get in at, let's say, what, around 825, 830 there. So we like UNG. I wouldn't go into it now because of the bearishness on the short-term chart. If you're in it, don't panic. Have your stop below the bottom. And I think this thing will unravel eventually to the upside. All right, so that's my take on UNG. It's a good one to look at. And I think once it goes, it's going to go quick, but it has to break out of that pattern that it's in now called a basing pattern. Excellent. All right, so let's keep going. Stuart, how are you? All right, VZ. Stuart's my old San Diego buddy. All right, so here we have. All right, so VZ kind of got a little bit of on the red side here on this PTF. So I don't think I can recommend it right now. All right, that has to turn green, and it may. Okay, if it gets above this green line, this little oscillating line goes above here, it will turn back to green, but no go for right now. Okay, if you're in it, if you've gotten in it here, you would have been stopped out. So you got to reset. Okay, so I would not go into that yet, unfortunately. All right, and that leads us to V. All right, so V is loading on all three time frames. Okay, so again, with V here, looks pretty decent on the long-term situation. It's getting close to probably a potential top here. And basically during this leg up here, it looks like we're now having bearish divergence. We got a red PTF. I think it's too late to go in it at this particular point. I still think there's upside potential, but I think you're going to get a pullback. So wait for the pullback before going in. If you're long, put your stop basically below this price bar here at this point, just in case it gives you a nasty reversal. All right, thank you. All right, AFRM. AFRM. Again, Stuart, this is for you. All right, not a lot of history in this one. Goes back to what, 2021, but it's looking pretty good. So let's first just take a look at, let's open up the weekly chart for a minute. All right, and let's focus on current activity. So if you look here, all right, notice we have this basing activity going on here after a big move down. So now this is showing we got a green PTF that says once this breaks out, it should go. So we got two targets here. One of the targets on this is going to be a short-term target on the weekly chart. I know that kind of sounds ridiculous, but that's what it is. All right, so we put it right there. So your short-term target is up to 72.88 to 112. That's pretty significant considering we're at 21. But the PTF says if you hold it long enough, it should get above its old highest high, way back up here. That's what this is saying down here. So if you're going to wait for that, you got to make sure you don't keep your stops too close because markets go up, profit taking, breathing, and then go back up. So if you have your stop here, you'll get stopped out. You'll never make it up here. So what I would do is I like this so far for an entry. Notice the green pyramid. Let me just once again open this up. Notice the green pyramid right here. So you just had an entry, right? So you're good to go on that. Put your stop below the pyramid. That's how they work. So our stops always go below the flat part of the pyramid. And the reason for that is that flat part represents the low of the pullback of a price bar that the software deemed as very important. And why did it deem that? Well, the software is looking at momentum as the pattern unfolds. So it looks at it here, looks at it here, and then looks at it again when the markets all increase. So the long trade is taken here, and the stop is put down here. That way you're giving yourself the best possibility of potential movement in this without getting stopped out. So there it is. That's giving you a nice long-term position. And now we like to go to the daily chart to see if that supports that. And it does. We even had a pyramid here. You could have gotten even an earlier entry there. And notice we have one up here. So it doesn't mean that you're not going to get a pullback, all right? But I would take this based on the fact that you're going to be long-terming it. And so a slight pullback isn't going to hurt you. So this is an excellent one. So let's put this on the buy list. All right, on the buy list. Good one, Stuart. Okay, let's take a look at his next one, AV, and then go to TR. And let me open that. Okay, this is not a bad one either. Okay, again, similar to his other one in that the history goes back just to 2021, but we seem to be getting some type of movement up off a bottom. And long term here, okay, we have bullish divergence. It looks like a little bit. I think that low is maybe a little bit lower. If not, then that means the bottom held anyway. So that's looking pretty good. We got a green PTF indicating that, we're going up there. Short term, let's take a look here and take a look at what a short term target would be. We can just draw that from the pyramid down here to roughly here. So short term target is 27 to 30. Now, here's what you got to be careful about this. So technically, we do not have bullish divergence because we do not have a low here, right? So we still could be a 3 here, and this could be an A, B, C, and then it could fall out of bed again. So I think the target you got to realistically look for right now is here, and let's see if things change. You got a pyramid trading point entry there. You got a little bit of a red here. So I probably at this time, I would like to see this go green again before going long. All right, so I kind of would hold off because what may be happening is you may be in a slight pullback and we can get you in at a better price. So as much as I think you're going in the right direction, going long here, I'm not going to recommend it, but I am going to recommend this for a watch list, and that's AVTR. So I like the other one better. AFRM was a better choice there. All right, let me actually put those up there. Okay, the next one is LITE. All right, so we looked at this one before, and this one also is looking fairly good. We had a brief movement up. It looks like we're going higher. I like LITE, so I'm going to recommend this one still. Okay, looks good. We got a pyramid here on the middle chart. Stop can go here, or if you want to be very careful, put it down here. Just lower your trade size because it's more distance for risk here. This is green, this is green, this is green, this is yellow. Neutral's okay, neutral's okay. A little bit of red here, but not surprising because we're going in for an early entry. So I'm liking this to the long side. Target, according to the PTF, is going to be the chances of it being this high here. So you take the highest price bar in the green area. You're looking at around 65, which will put you into the long-term retracement target zone. So then when you get in there or you get here, cover your position or trail your stops are really close. So that is excellent still. All right, Alexander, good morning to you. Good morning, good morning. All right. All right, and as Gene says here, USO is on the buy list. All right, let's take a look. Alexander has PDD. PDD, let's take a look at this one. Earnings gap up, no position. He also wants to look at ExxonMobil, XOM. Okay, there's your gap that he's talking about. Yep. Let's see what's cooking on the longer term chart on this. Okay, so we got a nice move off the bottom back earlier about a year and a half ago, right? So far, the trend is looking pretty good here overall, okay? The only thing we got to be careful about here is if we go over here and grab our fib retracements, let's put them here and here. So you're kind of in the retracement zone here. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with this in terms of it. This one's a tough one to get an Elliott wave read because it went all the way up and all the way. Maybe this is a 1, maybe this is a 2, and it'll take off. That's possible. All right. But it's also possible it could go up here and then, fall again and then go back up. So the Elliott wave is not that clear here at this particular point. This is not a wave 3, all right, even though it's the most impulsive wave, simply because the retracement was more than it can be for a wave 4. So it'd have to be like a wave 2, all right, at this time. So it's looking good. We've got a pyramid trading point entry here, all right, on this new leg up. The question is, what's the target? And that's the difficult part. Let's see if the time frame over here helps us. Let's open this up. Okay, so kind of a little difficult there too. And let's see if we get a short-term time frame here. Okay, you had the gap up. This is indicating a wave 3 of some sort. I think probably you're good for higher prices. And this PTF is not really going to help you that much because it's just saying the higher high here is already the high. So I'm not going to recommend it because I'm having a hard time figuring out whether we're in the target or this thing is going to take off. Okay, let's take a look at ExxonMobil. XOM. Okay, so you're long on this one, no position on the other one. All right, so ExxonMobil, kind of a few things going on here. Let's take a look at this. So we're kind of in a position here where we've had a number, when we have a number of these pyramid trading points, which are the triangles on the chart, when we have a number of those, getting in here becomes more risky than getting in on the earlier ones. So right away, that increases the risk because you'll have profit taking, and that's going to stop you out more than likely. So that's why we have this profit taking or retracement zone drawn here. So if this is a 3 and we have a red here, okay, we got to be careful that this may slam back down here. So that's kind of where I'm thinking on that one. So, and we got a red here indicating that probably will happen. So when you have a green on the short and a red on the middle one, what that means is we're probably going to go up a teeny bit higher, you know, up in this area here. So maybe like around 113, which would put it right above in here, still not taking out the high. Okay, so it's basically above here. So probably a little more movement up, but then very possible going down, especially with this red. So I'm not going to recommend that one. Just trail your stops. And I would use the stops, I think, on the 60-minute chart, okay? So your stop would want to be right here, okay, for that. And that would be, well, here, I'll tell you what that stop would be for you. Okay, the low on that pyramid price bar is 110.64. So you want your stop at 110.63, and that'll lock you in any profits. All right, William, how are you? Okay, let's take a look at PSTG. PSTG, give that a second to load. All right, so we'll take a look at this. I don't know if you're long or not. Let's open up the weekly chart and see if we can get some type of determination. Messy chart. That's really messy. All right, when I see something like that, I run for the hills. I don't even try it, okay, unless I take a PTF trade or something. So I don't like that. Let's see if the daily chart's clearer. Sometimes you can get swings inside the messiness. Okay, you had it already. I don't think I would go long here. You're going to see some profit taking. I think prices could very easily come down to 30 or the upper 20s, even if it's going to go higher. So I think profit taking is here. I'd stay away from it. Okay, it's not one of my favorites. All right, let's take a look at SOUN. Give that a second to load. Okay, so we go back just to 2022, so not much history on this. Looks like it opened up on an IPO or something, slammed back down, and we're kind of trending sideways. It really hasn't totally broken out yet of this sideways motion on the long-term chart. But look at this. We got a pyramid here, okay? This high is higher than this one, so you could use this bottom probably, or this bottom here rather, for your stop, which is basically this bottom. I would wait for this to turn green, but I think it's not too bad. So I put this on a watch list. That could turn green within a week, within a couple days, within a day, for God's sakes. But I don't like to go long even though that we got a green pyramid until we get confirmation on that owl. Okay, and currently it's red. So I like it. Goes on a watch list. As soon as it turns green, it looks pretty good. Target on this one, I think for this one, I would just at this point here say the best we could hope for right now, which is still decent, is $7.40 up to $11.49. Okay, so that's the best possible target, but you have to have your stop in case things fall apart. Okay, so that's looking good. LTRN. Give that a second to load. Okay, another good one, basing at the bottom. I like these that base because when they base, eventually they break out, and that's where the big trend is again. Okay, so that's not a bad thing to look for. And we got some green here. So on this case here, we're still kind of coming down. We got a red owl on the 60-minute. We've got some little bit of a bearishness here. We've got green here. We got bearishness here. Let's wait for this to turn around and show us some bullish momentum before we get excited about it. So not quite yet. You can put this on a watch list, but it's got to break out a little bit. And then once it does, we'll draw the fibs up there and we'll get a price target probably around 14 or so on it. Okay, so there you have it. All right. And as Gene says, AFRM is an excellent one. And it was, yes. All right, another one, LITE, correct. Okay, and Bill's saying he was just looking on that one. All right, anybody else? I think I've gone through them all, right? So while I'm waiting for you, let's just take a look at the cryptos for a minute, okay? A lot of people are interested in Coinbase. Cryptos have been pulling back, okay? And I don't think the pullback maybe not quite done, but it came close enough that it could be. So my take on the cryptos is this is a significant bottom that was put in earlier this year. And we've had a bounce up here off it, little profit taking, bounce again, profit taking. And so now we just want to make sure the profit taking is done. We could come back down a little further, but I think it looks pretty good. Let me just redraw these here because I got so many on there. I don't want to confuse everybody. So let me just take these off for a minute. And then let's redraw where I think the retracement should be on the profit taking and why I say I think it's almost over. So it looks like it could be over here. We got a green pyramid, which is good. We've got green here. We got a little bit of a pullback coming in. It might test the low again of the pullback. So I would wait until this turns green again, and then I would go in if you're not already in. If you're in already, long term, I think you're going to do really well. But don't keep those stops close to where profit taking is going to stop you out. So keep that stop at this point here under here. Okay. All right. Once this leg emerges, you can move your stop up under here. But let's make sure this bottom holds here on the pullback. I'm not so sure it is at this particular point. All right. The other one, RIOT is another one. Where is that baby? That's blockchain. All right, so this is a mining company here. Again, let me remove all these miscellaneous lines here. So I'm thinking here probably same type of thing. This one looks like it's not done correcting. We've got red here. So I think probably maybe we may see a little bit more move up here and there. The reason why I say this is because we've got green over here. So short term, we may go a little higher, and then intermediate term come back down. Long term, we're eventually getting way up above the high, but we're in a little bit of a consolidation mess right now on the cryptos. So you got some time. All right, GBTC, which is the crypto for Bitcoin, had this crazy price bar here. Look at that. Okay, way up, way down. When I first saw that, I thought it was a mistake in the data, but it's not. It actually occurred. So I consider that almost like an aberration, so to speak. I still like Bitcoin a lot. And I think if you're in it, stay in it, and probably go ahead and put your stop way down here if you can afford to do it. But if not, I would at least wait until this gets above here and move something here is good. So I wouldn't go into it yet right now. If you're in it already, you got in early, so your stop should be pretty low. If you got stopped out, don't go in it now. Wait until these owls turn green first, okay, on the lower time frame. So not quite ready yet. All right, Bill's got QS. Let's take a look at QS here. All right, so QS, I see a lot. First thing my eyes go to is that PTF. Notice it's green. That's that second indicator right under the histogram. So that's green. All right, we've got a basing pattern here forming. All right, so let's just say one target, long-term target is here. Now, when I say long-term target, I'm not talking about next week. I'm talking about probably 2 or 3 years from now, because that's a weekly chart. So that's a long-term target. So keep that in mind. Now, if we draw a shorter term target, we may get something here that we could reach sooner, but still probably a year out. Good solid year, maybe a year and a half, 2. All right, and so that'd be $52. So long term, this is looking good, bullish. We haven't really gotten a bullish pyramid, but we no longer have any active bearish pyramids there. We've got red here. We've got green here. Let's wait until this owl turns green before taking an entry, just to be sure this pullback is done. I think it is, because the 60-minute chart is very bullish at this point, but we still have a red owl on the daily chart. And that's one of my, that's one of my rules. I don't like to go long unless my primary time frame is in agreement with the position, and that means the owl. And then the PTF has to either be the same color I want to go into, in other words, green for bullish, red for bearish, or it can be neutral, but it can't be against me, that type of thing. All right, so that's QS. All right, BLDP. Let's see what we got cooking for this one. All right, and he's just looking on this one, BLDP. Let me type that in again and bring that up for you, Bill. All right, so we looked at this one before, and it's made a new low since we looked at it, right? So originally on the move up here, we were thinking, okay, maybe we'll get some movement down here. Then it blew by that. When that happens, that's not a good sign, okay? And then it's going to test the low, and then you got to hope the low holds. So on this one here, the low did not hold, okay? It blew it off, and so that's kind of where we're at now. And so what you want to do with this is, we're still not quite ready, but I can tell you here, you might want to keep this on some form of a watch list, because this is getting close probably to a significant bottom. And the reason I say that, if we open up that weekly chart, notice we went all the way up and all the way down. And now look at the bullish divergence here. Okay, this is not a 3. This is an impulsive wave, but it's probably a 1. This is a 2. So we're getting ready probably for a pretty big trend to the upside. It's just not quite there yet. So I would put this on your watch list. I do like this because I don't think you want to miss it when it finally is ready. Now, just a funny thing, I always like to rub this into the buy and hold people, okay? This is why we like trading. If you bought here and it went way up here, and you're a buy and holder, and it came way back down here, well, you just spent 2 years not making any money, if not losing money. Okay, at least with trading, we try to get out on these swings to take advantage of both the move up and the move down. All right, so that's a good example of that. That's why we do trading. All right, so it's not done quite yet. Okay, I know the 60-minute chart says we're going to have another little high up here, but I want to make sure that bottom's in, and I'm not sure yet. Okay, so just keep that on the, let's look at that next week, Bill, if you're here. Okay, bring that, and we'll take a look at it every week and see if we see it improving to the upside, so we don't miss it. Okay, thank you for that. All right, anybody have anything else? Let me just quickly, while I'm waiting, let me just quickly look at some of the housing ETFs, the real estate. So CBT, if you Google CBT, it usually tells you this kind of is one that's good for the housing, because ETFs are a little tricky on the real estate. There's ones that deal with commercial property, and then ones that deal with residential, and you kind of got to find the right one for what you're looking for. Okay, so here's an interesting thing. All right, so real estate was way up, of course, when the interest rates were good, and now it's trickling. kind of a little basing here, which is kind of interesting. So it looks like it may perk way up, and we do have a green PTF. So that's kind of interesting. So, how long is it? Some people say housing's going to be kind of frozen for a while, and we may get that. We may get this back and forth movement, and it may be a long time before it goes up here. Okay. Or you might get the back and forth movement, a little move down and then move up. Okay. So it'll be interesting to see, but it looks to me like real estate is kind of going to be, is so far for the entire year has been stuck. If we go back to 2023, which is right about here, okay, it came down on the beginning of the year, which it did. And then during the seasonal months where it was better, it kind of remained in here. And they paused interest rates one time in June, and they did again recently. So, well, June, yeah. And there it is. Okay. So actually, that's kind of a bullish histogram there. So we'll see what happens with that. So we may get a perk up, but I just don't know how long it's going to take before we get that. So that's kind of the real estate situation. And CBT seems to be a good one for that. All right. All right. Yes. And Gene says, great picks, everybody. I agree. Guys came out. We got some really good ones. Okay. And give us a like before you go. So a couple things today. All right. So the market is up, 44 points, but we're still finding some bullish stocks versus really some bearish ones. So it looks to me like the market is going to be fairly stable, probably volatile, but fairly stable at least until we meet again next week. But the point is, like USO looks good, but that's kind of not really one dependent upon the market itself. That's basically an oil-driven thing. But AFRM is good and LIT. So it's definitely a stock picker's market. But you do also have to use your stops in case things change. Interest rates are kind of a wild card. Some people think they'll hold pat. Some people think they'll go up. That will affect the market overall. So we'll have to wait and see what is out there for us in the future. All right. Anything else from anybody else? All right, I will say this, for those of you that are here that are going to be in our day trading room, we start at 10 a.m. today and go to 12 noon. So we'll be looking at the futures markets. We day trade the futures markets in that room. So I will see you in there today. And I think that's it for today in terms of that. Okay, so quick wrap up. All right, stocks we like today. USO. AFRM, and LITE. Those are the three. And then on the watch list, we have AVTR, SOUN, and BLDP. So we definitely want to take a look at those. Okay. All right. Oh, Alexander's got a couple more to look at here. GBTC, we covered that one already. Okay. GBTC, I'll go back to that just so you can see it again here. This is one we're bullish on. The difficult part about this one is that erroneous bar that occurred here. Like I said before, when I saw that, I thought it was a mistake in the data. But when they cleaned it, it was still there. So it was a print, reliable print. Kind of threw a works into place because if you had your stop here, which would have made sense, you would have gotten stopped out. That was kind of weird. All right. If you were a little more conservative and had it down here, you're good. I think it's okay to go in, but not quite yet because we're still pulling back. All right, we've got this little ledge here, little ledge here. I'm not going to pay much attention to that bar, but I do need to see some power to the upside on GBTC before I go in. All right, so let's let it see if it breaks this little channel here to the upside. Let's wait for this to turn green, this to turn green. And we got to watch this because if this violently comes down some more, it could make it turn red. So I wouldn't go into GBTC right now. If you're in it and your stop was low enough to survive this one bar and you're in it for the long term, stay with it. Okay. I do think we have a major bottom in on the weekly chart back in 2022, but you're seeing the volatility coming off this bottom. All right. Now we have not looked at NKLA. Let me type that one in here real quick. Second. Okay, there is NKLA. Okay, so on NLKA here, what we have cooking is a nice bottom. All right, we looked at this one before, but now we're getting a pullback. Now, let me just open up this chart. How many of you remember on the last session when I said if you get in off a bottom on that first leg up, you have to put your stop low enough for the pullback? Because you always, well, not always. I've got to be careful about saying the word always in the markets because always is not always. All right. Probabilities indicate after that first move up, you get a big pullback. That's normal. And if you think about it, if this is a wave 5 bottom or any major impulsive bottom, that first leg up, all right, if it's not a correction, it'll be a wave 1. If it's a correction, it'll be a wave A. The next move, which could be a wave 2 or a wave B, has the power to retrace 100% of wave 1 or wave A. So you got to be really careful on setting your stop and keeping it at the bottom until after wave 2 or wave B is over. Now, notice the pyramids did a great job tracking the first wave up. So if you use those, you'd be out. Okay, but it would have been at a break even, only made a little teeny bit of money, but not much. So if your intention was to really be in this for the long term, you got to put that stop at the very bottom. All right, now, what do you do now? Okay, well, if you're in it already from our previous recommendation and you're still in it, then that means your stop is probably down here. Keep it there, okay? This pyramid will probably hold, but it's better to have it here. Okay, the reason I say that is because if you drew the fib retracements, they would come in here and we're right at the bottom tier of that. So normally, not all the time, but normally, if your pyramid stop is below the fib retracement area, it'll be okay. Otherwise, use a lower pyramid, okay, or a bottom. So I don't want you to go into this now if you're new because we got red here and red here. Okay, it's still pulling back. So it's not quite ready. Again, what we can do is put this on our watch list, NKLA for sure up there, okay? Good. All right. All right. Let's take a look at Williams here, CHPT. All right. And this is this one here. He's looking for a turnaround, and I get that. You still have some active shorts. I mean, the pyramids did real good coming down here. So prices have to get at least, let me put this here. Hold on. At least above this pyramid here for you to be out of a long-term short. And you can get an early entry, but look, this is red. These pyramids did real good here. MP pyramid is a minor pyramid indicating a correction in the trend down marked by the P pyramids. So you still got more lows coming, all right? So even though once this bottoms, it should take off according to the green PTF on the weekly. That will be our target once this thing turns around. It's not quite there yet, okay? Needs more time. So if you want to put this on a watch list, that's okay, but this is going to be a while, okay? Still coming down. All right. So good thought, looking for a turnaround in the downtrend, just give it a little more time. And this is why having tools, good tools are important because you're not guessing at the bottom. These tools are telling me it's not done yet. And that's what you have to be able to have a set of tools to make that determination, okay? People will often say, well, Ben, you look at charts so quick. How do you do it? Well, I've been using the tools a long time, so they're pretty ingrained in my mind. So basically, it's kind of like being a pilot where you have a lot of gauges and you're looking at the gauges to make a determination on flying the plane. I'm looking at all the tools, which are like gauges quickly, because I've been doing it a long time to determine if the trend is over, if it's still going down, like in this case, or not. Okay, so it's all about the tools. All right, anything else? You guys were great today. Awesome. All right, well, why don't we, this was a good session. We've been together for what, 48 minutes or so right now. So excellent session. We can't walk away with 3. 3 good ones, I think, and we looked at quite a few, and that's what trading's all about. It's eliminating the marginal trades from the really good ones, right? So good job today. All right, so that's it, and I will see you guys back next week. We're back on every week now on Fridays, and what I'll do is I'll go ahead and tune out here, and I'll put it on some of our intraday time frames. I'll put it on the MES, which is the micro E-mini, so you can kind of watch things tick by. It looks like it's selling off. Look at the pyramids on the, now on these time frames here, this is for our day trading. This is a 5-minute, this is a 1-minute, and this is a 15-second. So much shorter than our position trades, obviously. But notice the beautiful trade on this 15-second time frame all the way down, and also on the 1-minute, because you would have been short here and going down. So looks like this PTF just turned here, so you could have scaled out a little bit here, but you might want to stay with that. Keep your stop here at this particular time. So even if I was trading down here on this one, I'd move my stop here. Okay, that's how I use multiple time frame analysis. So I'm going to leave it on there, put a little music on, and you guys have a great week, and we'll see you back here next time. Thanks so much.